Just going to play some of this video by NY Prepper concerning some World War III news updates, being that we are in the spirit of war, as people are crying out for peace. Nevertheless, we are in a time of war. All right, I want to give all praises, starting off to Abanawa Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to you, hopefully elect, and my brother Yahweh Call from Great Millstone, Orlando. And without further ado, get right into it. Let me go to speed this up.
We have some major breaking news coming in from the Middle East and from here in the U.S. So in case you missed my live stream late last night, we have confirmation that the U.S. has moved as many as 7 or possibly 8 B-2 stealth bombers to Diego Garcia, which is a British territory in the Indian Ocean that the U.S. uses as a military base, and Diego Garcia was heavily used in the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. So 7 to 8 B-2 stealth bombers moved to Diego Garcia. Guys, that is like almost 40% of all of our B-2 stealth bombers, okay? The U.S. has just over 20 stealth bombers, so 8 divided by 20, you can do the math. That's right around 40% of all of our B-2s going to Diego Garcia. So that is clearly a sign that the U.S. is getting ready to strike Iran. You don't need 7 or 8 stealth bombers to strike the Houthis. Okay, these stealth bombers are going to be used to penetrate heavily guarded airspace with air defenses, to take out the Iranian nuclear sites and underground missile storage complexes. So get prepared, guys. Things are continuing to escalate. And this afternoon, we have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert again. We have a U.S. presidential doomsday plane that was flying with its tracker turned off earlier this morning. It got aerially refueled over northern Missouri and Iowa, and it is now heading east towards Ohio. We also have a nuclear war command and control plane flying over Idaho right now. And the presidential doomsday plane is for the president. It's known as the E-4B Night Watch. And that's the plane that the president uses to control the entire U.S. military during a nuclear war. He would be scrambled up into the air on one of these planes, and these planes are EMP resistant. And he can command our entire military and the nuclear forces from the air. And then the nuclear war command and control planes are to communicate with our nuclear armed submarines and also to function as a backup launch system for our land-based missiles. Okay, they can launch our land-based ICBMs from the air with those E-6 Mercuries, okay? Now, in addition to that, we had a B-52 nuclear bomber fly from Barksdale Air Force Base to Key West, which is very, very unusual. And I don't know if they're going to be doing some kind of a deterrence patrol around Cuba, but it landed at Key West International Airport. This is extremely unusual. And then we also have a lot of sub-hunter activity off the coast of northern Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. Check this out. We got 2 P-8 Poseidon sub-hunters patrolling this area here off the coast of Georgia, South Carolina, and northern Florida. This is extremely unusual, guys. And then we also have another sub-hunter off the coast of Tampa in the Gulf of America. So something is brewing over here off the coast of Florida. Maybe there's a Russian sub over here, but this B-52 going to Key West is extremely bizarre. And here's the presidential doomsday plane that got aerially refueled over Iowa and Missouri, and it turned its tracker off shortly after refueling, and now it has its tracker back on. And we just had a bunch of U.S. reconnaissance planes flying near Crimea in the Black Sea and keeping an eye on the Black Sea. I wonder if this is related to the recent agreement that Russia and the U.S. made about the Black Sea Grain Initiative, where Russia is going to halt any attacks on grain shipments coming out of Ukraine, and any attacks in the Black Sea are going to be halted. And this could be the U.S. keeping an eye on Russia to make sure that Russia is not doing anything here sneaky, or potentially, more than likely, this actually looks like a targeting pattern. This looks like something the U.S. military does when they're trying to pick up targets. Okay, this was an RC-135 rivet joint, which has side-looking radars, and it was flying parallel to the southern shore and western shore of Crimea, which is where Russia has their Black Sea fleet. So this could have been picking up targeting information for the Ukrainians so they can strike Crimea possibly tonight. Now, in addition to that, we also have a sub-hunter flying in Romania right now doing this very unusual pattern here, flying over the Carpathian Mountains. And then also we have an E-3 Sentry that was flying parallel to the Moldova border. So something is going on over here in the Black Sea. Something is brewing. And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners potentially a rogue country like North Korea. Use my promo code NYPrep included to the entire continental United States. Nuclear attack. And we have some major breaking news coming out of France, and I was the first one to cover this. The French Air Force ran a large nuclear attack exercise yesterday morning, during which pilots simulated low-altitude penetration over enemy territory, followed by delivering nuclear weapons. 3 fighter squadrons and many French tankers were airborne at the same time. This was known as Operation Poker. Okay, so here is a picture showing this exercise, and we were tracking this live 2 nights ago. Okay, all these French aerial refuelers took off from central and southern France, and they went out to the Atlantic here. And I knew something was up because you never see that. And sure enough, I was right. Turns out France was doing a massive nuclear strike drill, okay, with their fighter bombers. Okay, France has the ASMP hypersonic cruise missile, which
I'm gonna play a few more of this, but here it is. France has extended its nuclear umbrella to European nations. Here it is. Europe is I believe they're talking about basically stockpiling in case of an emergency. You want to stockpile for 72 hours. All these nations conducting these military drills, nuclear drills, getting war ready. The main thing I wanted to get out of this was these stealth bombers going over there. Basically, as it's looking like, it's apparent that America is positioning itself to strike Iran. All right. And as we know or should know, the prophecies concerning, Ezekiel 38, more and more is coming to pass. I've said this before because it's going to be rather interesting to see how this plays out, being that America has been allying itself with Russia. And this type of artillery, again, that Babylon is positioning itself to, because they're talking about the Houthis, Yemenis and whatnot, but you don't need such heavy artillery for someone like the Houthis, So, it only makes sense. They would position it because all these proxy groups, they're backed by Iran. So, of course, it would make sense. Again, Babylon is positioning itself to strike Iran. Now, like I said, according to the Ezekiel 8 prophecy, Iran is going to ally itself with Russia, Again, as we know or should know, once Iran and Israel start going at it, the big dogs are going to come into play, such as Russia, America. All right. Again, we're in the atmosphere of war, the spirit of war. All these nations, why are they conducting these nuclear ready drills and things of that nature? Here it is. You got Israelites out here that believe. And that's what's cold about Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai. It's a matter of what do you believe in? Who do you believe in? What do you have faith in? Because everyone believes. The scriptures talk about how the Lord, he's given these people over to their delusion, because everyone believes in something. And again, Israelites out here thinking there's no such thing as nuclear destruction. A nuclear fallout will not take place, according to some of these camps. And they believe that. So that's what's cold about it. Because you see, I posted a video about nuclear missile city. You know, these nations, man. These nations stockpiling on all these missiles, and people are out here thinking, or rather believing, those missiles are not going to get used, man. You know, what people don't take into consideration when it comes to conducting all these military drills. That's why it tells you in Joel, because this shit costs money, you know. This shit costs money. So for people to think that those missiles are just going to be put in a museum somewhere and they're never going to be used, you're sadly mistaken. This is Joel. Joel 3. Joel chapter 3, verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. And again, from the bigger nations to the more minor nations, stockpiling, telling their citizens to get ready just in case, quote unquote, right? And so on and so forth. You know, it's these Babylonians, these simple Americans are the only ones that, you know, because they try to sweep this shit under the rug because, of course, they don't want to cause a certain panic, you know. Matter of fact, real quick, I'm going to come back to this. It's like it tells you in Daniel 5. You know, basically when they were partying and bullshitting, drinking, and having a festival, and then they got the hand on the wall, the writing on the wall, you know. And that night, Babylon was overtaken, you know. And in a moment, America is going to get overtaken. All right. I got a video, Lord willing, I get around to it. We'll do a video on it. I forgot where it was. It might be over there in Syria. I forgot where it was, but it's a video of these heathens. Because you see, the thing about it, in these countries that are war ridden, you know, all they know is bombs going off every night. It's pretty much normal. It's their normal. They're normal. You know, at some point you just get used to the environment, you know, bombs going off and so on and so forth. And in this video, Lord willing, I get around to it. You know, it's just one of those things where, hey, you know, bombs going off in the background, you know, and you could tell in the video, the individual and his son, you know, they're just kind of it's just like, well, they're just kind of waiting for it to to die down. They're just waiting for it to be over because they're used to it. You know, this is the type of environment that's coming to America. All right. Because in a moment, you know, that sudden destruction, you know, things going to be different. Shit's going to pop off. Right. Because again, these Americans are just oblivious for the most part. You know, that's why in Zephaniah 2:15, this is the rejoicing city that dwelt carelessly and said in her heart, I am, and there is none else beside me. Because Americans still have this, they're still under this illusion, this facade that America is this, you know, home of the brave, land of the free type of attitude. You know, America is the best place to be, so on and so forth. They still have that normacy bias. So what we see going on in other countries, these Americans have the attitude, well, that's over there. You know, it'll never come over here. This is America. You know, Babylon the Great. But in the moment, all right, reading on, it says, and there was none beside me. How has she become a desolation? So you see, walking around here with this normacy bias spirit, these Americans thinking that they can't be touched. No, man, the Lord is just preserving the worst for last. He's preserving the worst for America. It says, a place for beasts to lie down, and everyone that passes by her shall hiss and wag his hand. You know, because America at one point, you know, was a place to be. You know, but here these other nations, they're getting ready, man, because we're in the atmosphere of war, the environment of war. Going back to that Joel 3:10. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Because, you know, the money that's supposed to be spent on furthering and bettering your economy, building up your economy, these nations, they're gearing up for war. All right. Like I said, from the major countries to the minor countries. And again, this shit costs money. Doing all these drills, these things, they cost money. Again, man, those missiles, man, they're not going to be put up in some museum to be looked at 100 years from now. You know, but hell, according to some people, maybe 1,000 years, you know, but I'm going to play some more.
Flies at a speed of Mach 3. It's a true hypersonic missile. It has a ramjet, and it has a range of 600 miles, and it can carry the TN-81 thermonuclear warhead, which has a yield of up to 300 kilotons. Okay, so this is very, very serious. And in recent days and weeks, France has really been ratcheting up the talk of war with Russia. Emmanuel Macron talked about extending the French nuclear umbrella to Europe and possibly sharing France's nuclear weapons with countries like Poland or Finland. And just a couple days ago, France announced that they're going to be giving out nuclear war and World War III survival manuals to everybody in France by this summer. And Emmanuel Macron spoke to some pilots at a base on the border of Germany, where he said that he was going to rearm that base with nuclear weapons and 2 permanent fighter bomber squadrons to deliver those nuclear weapons. France hasn't had that base loaded with nuclear weapons since the Cold War, okay? So something is brewing, guys. Also, Emmanuel Macron said like 2 weeks ago that he's looking into plans for mobilizing French society. And now after all of that, they do this nuclear strike drill. So guys, this is pretty obvious to me. Something is going down in Europe very, very soon. I think there's going to be some kind of a massive escalation. And then we also have Iran with all of those B-2s going to Diego Garcia. Very, very unusual. And here you can see all those French aerial refuelers, okay, when they were doing this nuclear strike exercise. You can see them doing these looping patterns here, which is what they do when they do refueling. And then this was sent to me by a friend of mine near Offutt Air Base, home of U.S. Strategic Command. This was yesterday. A B-1 strategic bomber was flying over Offutt Air Base, U.S. Strategic Command headquarters. This is extremely unusual to have one of these flying over Offutt because their home base is now up in North Dakota in Grand Forks. Okay, so this is very, very strange, and it means that our military is on very, very high alert. And the U.S. president has announced that a deal concerning rare earth minerals with Ukraine is nearly finalized, with signatures expected soon. Discussion.
So, you know, I would encourage you to watch, check out NY Prepper. He brings out a lot of, he's very detailed when it comes to war talk and what's going on as far as, military movement and things of that nature. He's very detailed. Matter of fact, he's live right now. Let's just see what he's saying. All right, so like I said, he does a lot of these videos, live updates, live videos. Like I said, man, he's very detailed, thorough with the information that he brings out concerning what's going on as far as the military movement and things of that nature, troop movement, just in general, So, from minor escalations to major escalations, But overall, the fact that Babylon is basically positioning itself to strike Iran, that's what it's looking like, that's big news, I had a precept. I wanna save that for another video. If you check out, like I said, check out some of these videos. Emergency alert, Europe tells citizens to prepare for war. U.S. doomsday plane flies to doomsday bunker. Possible nuclear test in Iran. Ukraine takes out 2 Russian gas. So like I said, he brings out a lot of detailed, thorough information. This guy pretty much stays on it, and it's the Wadi Al Shai, because these guys, they do a lot of the dirty work for the prophets to filter. They bring out a lot of information for the prophets to filter, because of course brothers ain't got a lot of time to be, really get into the details of a lot of things. So the Lord sets up guys like this, again, for the prophets to filter, and bring out the information and, connect the dots, because these people, they can't connect the dots. All they can do is tell you to buy your gun, gold, food, ammo, stockpile, right? Get your bug out bags, right? But none of that is going to save anyone from the wrath of Yahweh Shema Shai. All right. But I'm going to grab this in Isaiah 42:13. Yahweh shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yea, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. So Yahweh Shema Shai is more and more stirring things up. Because again, we are in that atmosphere of war. All right, there's no peace coming. And the scriptures tell us that there's no peace is coming to the wicked. Roughly paraphrasing. All right. But I'll leave a link to the description. You want to check this page out. Lord willing, this is edifying, giving all praises to Yahweh Shema Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully elect. We're almost home.